Test, 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 testing, testing, test, 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 testing, test, 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 testing, 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 test Ickles, test Ickles. Welcome everyone to episode 726 of the Daily Mother. Whoa, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Slaycast, Nipcast, Jackcast, and Taintcast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome everyone to the Gain Train. Welcome to Pumptown. Welcome to Gainesville. Welcome to Boston, Mass. Because we're flexing our biceps. When I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps, fam. And if you haven't noticed, Everest and K2 flexing on you, and on a Saturday, we are going to go and get yoked from our head to our feet because Papa Swole is going balls deep. Cole is swole. Ooh, I like that. I like that. You are definitely meant to be here, Cole. Cole is swole on Twitch. So thank you everyone for joining me live on the Quadcast. So if you don't know, now you know Beaches Papa Swole is live on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So pick your poison and get the beard in your grill however you wish. And let me tell you, fam, if you want super high quality picture and audio, go check it out on Twitch. If you've never used Twitch, go check it out. It's fucking fire. And it's awesome to get the Daily Swole over there on the T-Witch. So if you haven't, twitch.tv/Swolenormous, and all of you beaches that love the podcast on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts, you can check it out. All the episodes there. And remember, this is episode 736. So there are many of them. And if you're just joining the community now, I've been getting a ton of messages from a lot of you. You will know that there is a lot of gains to be made. And if you're new to the fam, you're new to the area, you're new to the beard, new to the six fucking gains, there's a lot to catch up on. So test, it kills. Yes, indeed, Deborah. Tyler, it's swole time. It sure is, motherfucker. Motherfuckers. Just in time. What up? Just in time. Yes, that's right, Justin. Very good. Very good. So welcome everyone on every platform. And we're a little quiet right now. So no surprise, really. I don't know if anything's going on today besides being Saturday, but I'm sure people are generally off from work as per usual. As per usual, people are taking time off on the weekend. Now, I've been fucking raging. I've been raging all weekend, as always. So last night, putting in time, putting in work on a Friday night, putting in work late, and I've been putting in work all day and I'm fucking stiff. So I'm going to do some serious yoga after. I want to. I say I will, but I'll probably go back and start doing some more work and some more editing. But I want to do some more mobility today. And because it's I didn't make it to the gym. I wanted to do legs, but it just didn't work out. And I thought I'd take another day off, crush some yoga and mobility stuff. And then tomorrow it's going to be judgment day for old Papa Swolio. So come on in through the door. Welcome on Instagram, the fungus among us. I like that. The fungus among us. Just hit 297 on SoundCloud. So much more to learn. Tyler, a bear, are you going from one? Are you saying you're at 297 from episode one? That's fucking epic. 300. So if you only listen to one a day, I'm always going to be a step ahead. You have to double up though. You have to double up there, TH. Bragging yoga gains. This is good as therapy. You rock, man. We all loving it. Thank you, Deb. Aw, I appreciate that. Tyler started. Everyone, let's give a round of applause for Tyler. Let's float some biceps for watching every single episode from one. That's freaking huge. That's huge. That's huge. I love it. I love it. I think a couple people are like all caught up or listen to them all, but it's hard if you're starting now. And I said this before, just before we launch into the episode, if you're searching, and I know a lot of you are thinking, okay, 736 episodes, fuck that shit. I'm never going and listening to all those episodes. You don't have to go and listen to each and every single one of them, but there's a lot of information and content and stuff that we've built upon over the years. And all you got to do is go on YouTube because they're all on YouTube and they're all tagged appropriately. So if you want to find something, go on YouTube and do a search. Go on YouTube and type in Swolenormous and then whatever keyword, whatever topic you're looking for, and all the episodes in the daily and any content that I've done on YouTube, of course, will come up. So make sure you do that. Don't forget to do a search, and that's why I throw up so much stuff on YouTube because it's easily categorized, and Google's amazing for search, as we know. Mm-mm-mm. Double up that thing. Double up that thing. I need to get into the gym, but something's come up. Something comes up. You need to get into the gym today, or something always comes up. Something always comes up. No excuses, fam. No excuses. And let's um let's get right into today's topic, which the title of the episode is Stress Kills. So those of you that are those of you that are part of Swolenormous, actually, those are part of the private community, you know that I am huge on yoga and mobility, and all my programming and all my private content is heavy, heavy, heavy on mobility and recovery. And the reason why today's episode is Stress Kills is usually the weekend is where we all take time off in order to recover from the week. We always back off. We always, and that's why people really rebel. I guess people rebel on the weekends and people give up and punch out and don't want to do anything stressful, don't want to do any work, don't want to get up early and go to the gym, don't want to eat the foods that they normally eat for their diet or whatever it is. So the weekend is kind of the day where everyone does the opposite, right? And if you slingshot the other direction, the problem with taking Saturday and Sunday off, and I want to make this clear again, if you take Saturday and Sunday off, it's not Saturday and Sunday that is the problem. It's just that they're 2 days in a row, okay? It's just 2 days. So it's not that it's bad to take a day off. Everyone's saying, "Well, Papa Swolio, you don't take any days off. What if I don't take a day off? You're aren't you supposed to take days off?" Yeah, there's active recovery and there's recovery periods, but the fact of the matter is if you take days off on Saturday and Sunday, it's more that it's 2 days out of 7 rather than there's specifically Saturday and Sunday. So you don't need consecutive days off. You don't even completely need days off. You don't need complete days off. You don't need to do a day where you don't have any exercise whatsoever. It doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to completely be inactive and sit on the couch like a fat piece of shit. You can do your mobility, you can do foam rolling, you can do active recovery, you can do yoga. So you can do these things that will keep you healthy and keep you recovering faster because one of the benefits that no one really talks about. Everyone thinks when you take steroids, for example, right? You take steroids, you get super strong and big. Well, yeah, but why do you get super strong and big? There's certain, of course, receptors and things of that nature, but also you recover faster. So you're able to work out more frequently and do heavier loads more frequently and do more damage to the body and recover faster. But that's what we can do naturally. Not, of course, to that level, but we are able to recover faster if we are active in our recovery. And too often I see people that go to the gym and they go bodybuilding routines or they go and crush it, right? We talked about high intensity training and CrossFit style stuff yesterday. When you're exposing yourself to that kind of stuff all the time and you're not doing any kind of active recovery, you're just beating the shit up out of your body. So instead of just crushing yourself all the time, you need to take as much effort as you're spending as much effort as you're spending on your exercise as you do your recovery. So you need to do both. You need to do both. You need to focus as much of your energy on the recovery aspect as you do your training aspect. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for everyone? It's really it's really interesting when you look at someone's programming and you see how lopsided and how overblown it is towards beating the shit out of the body, beating, 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 beating. It's usually it's usually very, 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 very lopsided to the actual training, and it doesn't balance out. It doesn't balance out, and that's why people get hurt because they don't focus as much attention and energy on the recovery aspect as they do their training aspect. And with one comes the other. I mean, with one comes the other, and if the other one doesn't come with it, then you're gonna have an injury. You're gonna have a point where the bough breaks, right? And the branch breaks and you're gonna get hurt. And you don't want that branch to be your back, for example, right? So if you're never recovering properly, and one of the reasons why one of the reasons why that compounds is if you are training hard and you're not working on the recovery and you're not having proper form, you're not balancing it out. In addition to not balancing it out, you're doing it wrong. You're creating improper movement patterns. You're creating habits with your body that is not good, that is not correct, that is not safe. And as a result of that, you are really, really, really asking for an injury. You're really asking for a an injury of some sort. You're asking for pain. You're asking for pain. And why? Why ask for it, right? That's one of my biggest pet peeves in the fitness industry, and what people do is get injured from things that are preventable. That's what pisses me off when there are preventable injuries because it's a waste of time. Why recover when you don't have to? Why get injured when you don't have to? You need to balance out the body. You need to focus on your recovery just as much as you need to your strength training and your active, like progressive training and your impact training and essentially your external stress training. So let's ramp that into why stress kills. And we're going to talk today about mental and physical stress because they are different, but they're also the same and they're intertwined. So, because today is a weekend day and most people take days off on Saturday and Sunday because of stress, they're exhausted, they're blown out. I want to make it explicitly simple and straightforward that the body integrates stress and embodies stress mentally when the body is under physical stress. And likewise, when you have mental stress and psychological stress, that will come out in physical form. And that's one of the benefits of breath work, meditation, yoga. And that's what you'll hear a lot of times in yoga classes, for example, or someone that walk you through a meditation that your body stores emotions. And I'm not going to get into the philosophical standpoint of that or the spiritual aspects of that, but it stores emotion in the sense of if you are stressed, your brain is what controls your muscles. Your brain is what fires neuromuscular activity to your muscles. That being said, if your body and your brain control your muscles, if you have an emotional state, positive or negative, that's going to translate directly into your physical body. If you are stressed, if you are under strain, if you are, whether you're in traffic, whether you have a rough day at work, you are going to embody that. Now, whether that emotion goes into your shoulder or it goes into your hip because, I don't know. There's all those different things where if you have something strenuous from your past, it gets stored in your right hip or your left hip. I'm not talking about that kind of philosophical stuff, but the physical embodiment of emotion is real. It's actually real because emotion is mental, is psychological, and the psychological, the brain controls the body. So if your brain is under stress, it's going to translate down the line, right? It's going to pass along that to your body. And when you compound that mental stress with physical stress, if we agree that if you're mentally stressed, you're going to have that pass on to your body, what happens when you are stuck in a certain position for hours? What happens when you are stuck in traffic, in a chair, in a car, in the front seat for hours? What happens when you are sitting at a desk for hours? What happens when you're sitting on the couch for hours? What happens when you are doing any kind of repetitive movement over and over and over and over and over again for hours? What happens what goes on with that? Your brain is sending stress signals to your body, and your body is also in an imbalanced state where certain muscles are longer than they should be, and certain muscles and ligaments and joint positions are shorter than they should be. So you see how this can snowball really quickly. Now, just a show of biceps or comments right now, how many of you would you say, how long would you say you sit for every day? And I want you to include sitting down for dinner, sitting in the car, on the bus. How many hours a day do you suspect that you're sitting down? How many hours a day do you think that you sit? How many hours do you think you sit a day? So, no matter where you're watching Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, how many hours a day do you sit down? And I want you to think about how much active recovery you do for your psychological state, how much yoga you do, how much meditation you do, and and put that into context. Because if you are sitting down, I'll use an example. Let's say you're sitting down 6 hours a day. That's probably on the low side, honestly, for most people. Let's say you sit for 6 hours a day, you sleep for, I don't know, 6 hours, 7 hours, so 13 hours. That's a huge part of your day when you're not active. So then if you're during the day, you're not exercising, it shortens your window to make progress. It shortens your window and your ability to balance out those 6 hours of sitting. Now, if you're doing active, focused yoga, corrective exercise, foam rolling, you can kind of balance out that sedentary nature, and you don't have to do 6 hours of mobility work to balance out 6 hours of sitting. The human body is meant to sit. We're meant to sit down. We're also meant to squat all the way down. We're meant to rotate and twist. Our joints and our bone structure, and everyone's a little bit different in terms of how naturally mobile you are, right? How some people are double jointed, some people are just more flexible naturally, some people can, bend themselves into a pretzel. Other people just naturally are very, very stiff. So we all have our natural resting levels just with genetics, but a lot of people, um, you don't need, if you sit down at an office for 7 hours, you don't need to do 7 hours of training to balance that out. However, doesn't it make sense that if you don't address 7 hours of one position, you don't counterbalance that, then you're going to have an imbalance, right? It's like a scale. And if you keep loading one side over and over again, you're going to have imbalances, and those imbalances will translate all over the body. And that cyclical stress from the brain to your body and from your body back to your brain creates a lot of tightness and a lot of rigidity. And I hate to break it to you, but if you're sitting down, it's not just your hips that are a problem. Don't forget what attaches to your hips, your lower back. And about 90% of everyone in the United States has lower back pain at least one time in their life. And that's like a fact that's rising and rising and rising. It used to be 80%. Now it's 90%. And I'm sure it's going to be 100%. I mean, how many of you have never had any kind of back pain or tweak? I have. I've tweaked my lower back minorly, but I still would call it back pain. So back discomfort, of course, that can vary. You can have a herniated disc, you can have a completely destroyed back and not be able to walk or stand up. So it depends on what you qualify as pain, but an injury, something that will impede you, something that felt uncomfortable, we all have it. And it's because that's the area that has the most mobility, not the exact lower back, but the hips and the thoracic spine. We're doing everything. It's the center of our body. So everything works around the hips. That's why I'm always preaching the hips and preaching yoga and mobility, because most of what yoga does is it opens up the hips in every different angle. And what's really exciting about the hips is it's a ball and socket joint like the shoulder. So you have the ability with your hips to rotate, to do internal, external rotation, flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, all these different movements with the hips. But if you're only doing flexion, if you're always sitting down, your hips are always flexed, then you're getting an imbalance. Then you're getting an imbalance. And then you are imbalancing that joint that should be balanced. A joint that has the ability to move in so many different directions is only getting moved one direction all the time. Usually you're walking, so you're going to hip flexion, very little hip extension. You're sitting down, not to mention your heels are elevated from high heels, from sneakers. You're elevating your heels, so you're changing the angle of your ankle and you're shutting down your glute tissue. So you're getting imbalance. You're getting a shifted hip and anterior pelvic tilt, and you're also lacking all the different other movements, moving your legs to the sides for um, abduction, you're missing adduction, you're missing all the rotations and all these different things that the body is supposed to do. So you're not using the body the way it's supposed to be used. And because that's the case, you're going to have injuries and problems. And it doesn't necessarily manifest itself right away. So if you get a new job and, oh, you're now sitting at a job at a desk for 6 months, it doesn't mean you're going to have horrible pain. But a lot of women complain of back pain. A lot of women complain of, their feet hurt from high heels, neck pain. Think of all these things, shoulder pain. All these things usually come from repetitive movement patterns. If you walk out the front door and someone's dog gets off their leash like a German shepherd and it smashes into your leg and you blow your ACL, that isn't what I'm talking about. That's a fucking accident. That sucks. And I'm sorry to hear that. What I am talking about are those preventable repetitive movement from doing the same thing over and over again, whether you're a plumber, whether you are a gymnast, whether you are an accountant, whether you are a cashier, it doesn't matter. You have certain movements you do over and over again, whether you're stocking shelves and reaching up all the time. You're doing something with your right hand all the time. You're creating imbalances left to right, rotationally, up, down. You're creating an imbalance. And when you have an imbalance, you're going to have things that go wrong. When you have an imbalance, things are going to go wrong. How do you track we're not doing talk about nutrition today. um, how do you track calorie loss? You don't. You don't need to track your calories. I highly recommend, if you want to, head over onto Facebook. If you send me a message, you'll see an option in my messenger window to check out my nutrition workshop or my ebook, and it'll tell you a lot more about calories. You don't need to track your calories like that. That's overblown. I have a really good workshop on that if you're interested. Was going to chillax tonight, getting dressed and heading to the gym. This is what I mean by motivation and determined to push off my ass and go lift weights. Oh, oh, oh. Yes, I've had back pain, get some chronic back pain, probably 7 hours sitting down. I sleep for 6 at best. Let's see. Let me scroll through and see what else we got here in terms of sitting down. 10 hours, 6 to 7 hours, probably 7 hours due to a driving commute. Okay, yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. Swolenormous on every platform. Swolenormous. Anyone that ever asks that, I laugh. It's Swolenormous everywhere. I guess a lot of people don't have that, right? They have different names on every different spot. This is no jabroni. This is no jabroni page. We're serious. We're serious. Swolenormous is legit. So I want you to evaluate your stress, and the weekend is a great time to do it if you have extra time. I want you to evaluate how much effort and how much focus you put on your stress management. Now, whether you do meditation, whether you do yoga, or some kind of toned down relaxation method, it's very, very important. And I can't understate that enough. And that's why I'm such a big believer in active recovery, not just sitting on your butt because you sit on your butt so much. And even if you don't sit on your butt, you're running around all the time with your job or with your kids. You're not exercising. You're not doing focused exercise. And stress will kill you. Stress will kill you. Stress is a big factor when it comes to disease. We've talked about it on this show before. Most diseases are environmental. And what that means is it's not genetic. Very few cancers are genetic. Most of it is what you expose yourself to. Heart disease. Heart disease is one of those that are, a genetic you if you have a family history of heart disease, that's really important when it comes to whether or not you might have an issue. Uh, but diabetes isn't genetic. Diabetes isn't genetic. I'm not so sure about type 1, but I'm not talking about type 1. Type 2 is what everyone's really dealing with. Type 2 is what people really get fucked up with because they're eating too much fucking cake and shit and soda. And that's preventable. And there's a lot of other side effects as a result of stress. For example, let's talk about physical stress on the muscles, physical stress on the body. You will have, for example, too much, you will pull a muscle, you will tear a muscle, you can break a bone. If you are what was I going to say? If you are doing, let's say, different types of tension, right? You have isometric contractions and isometric holding one place like a plank. That's isometric tension. That's stress. But that's a physical stress. You have too much of that, something can break. Your bones can break or your muscles can pop. Then you have the mental stress. And then you have, of course, if it's personal, emotional, um, sitting in traffic. And then you have the stress management. So what can you do? What can you do if we agree that stress will kill you and stress will be the opposite of what you want? Stress is not health. Stress is kind of on the opposite spectrum of fitness. I think it's interesting because you probably have a little bit of a Venn diagram with stress and with fitness because stress is part of fitness, right? You're stressing your body a lot of times emotionally. You're putting stress on your body emotionally and mentally because some of these workouts are really challenging. It fucking overloads you and you have to really dig down deep. And stress, physical stress, if we're categorizing physical stress is part of fitness, obviously. If you're not physically stressing your body, you're not going to damage the muscles. You're not going to rebuild stronger and bigger and all that. So that comparison and that crossover, but at the same time, most of what's fitness and most of what stress is on opposite ends of the spectrum. They're usually on opposite ends of the spectrum because one is the management of stress, and the other is the absorption of stress and when it starts to eat away at you. So we all have stress. We all have stress. We're all going to have that kind of stress. We all have bills to pay. We all have, if we're doing training, if you take 10 people and they're all exercising, they have physical stress. We all have jobs. We all have relationships, personal relationships. We have things we aspire to. We have things that go well and go bad over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year. And it really comes down to how you manage those stresses. And one of the big things that I found, because I have those stresses too, is understanding that they're always gonna be there. And the more that I meditate, and if you get into that, the more you do, and the more you reflect on your situation and your life, you realize that there was stress yesterday Whatever you're dealing with today is stress, and tomorrow there will also be stress. Like, it doesn't change, it doesn't go away. It will either be there, the same thing, or you'll have something new to replace it. And it's like once you have that moment where you really see that, you have this moment of acceptance where it's like, okay, am I going to let that bring me down every day, all the time for the rest of my life? Or am I going to take a look at the stress and then just kind of let it go on its merry way and just observe it and do what I can every day to live my life and do the things that I need to do and handle what I can handle when I can handle it. And if you can't handle it, then don't handle it. And not everything has to be done today. And, bills need to be paid today. Or if you don't pay them today, you pay them tomorrow. And if you get behind on bills and you got to do those things, or if you get your boss yells at you at work and you get a demotion or you get a pay cut. Okay. So, you're bummed out today and you're upset and you think you're a failure. Well, what about tomorrow? What if you got another pay cut? Just take it as one day at a time, one day at a time. And that management, that constant management of your stress, that constant acknowledgement of the stress. And as it changes, and once you look at your stress differently, once you look at your stress differently and you kind of have that perspective, all of a sudden, after you have that perspective, your stress kind of changes. So it's kind of like the object itself changes when you look at it differently. So when you start looking at your stress differently, your stress changes and your focus changes and what's important changes. And that's what I have found. And stress will kill you. Stress will get the better of you, and stress is always going to be there. And it's kind of like getting started working out when I have all these messages, people saying that they want to work out, but they don't know where to start, or they want to work out, but they're not consistent. How do I stay motivated? And of course, we always come back to the discipline. We always come back to there is no motivation, there's inspiration, there's excitement. Okay, if you want to use a motivation as an emotional term, fine, but that's going to go. In other words, you can't rest your hat on having motivation because you won't have that every day. It's great when you feel wonderful. It's great when you feel wonderful. If you feel in a good mood and you're feeling excited, that's awesome. That's awesome. Isn't it great? Isn't it great when you feel good? Isn't it great when you go through your daily tasks and you just feel amazing all day? Absolutely. It is amazing. It feels great. And what's interesting is that you feeling great about your day is in no one's power but yours. You can feel great about your day every day, regardless of the stress. And that's something very powerful. And it's not easy. You have to learn, but it's something very interesting that the only thing that controls your emotions is you. You could have everything bad happen to you in the world. And if you had the practice and the clarity, you could be happy still. And you could be in a good mood and excited. Nothing will change for you. The only thing that changes is your willingness to let something invade your body, your mind, and take control of you. So anytime you get angry in traffic, anytime you get angry at something that happens, anytime you let anger take over and let stress take over, that's you losing. That's you being weak. And that's you succumbing to someone else's bidding. So if someone's trying to piss you off and antagonize you, if they antagonize you, they won. If they don't antagonize you, you won. Or if you want to think of it, I don't even think it's winning. It's just nothing happens. So it's essentially the sticks and stones. If it's words, words don't mean anything, right? Anything from racial slurs to insults to someone's opinion, they mean exactly the same thing. They mean exactly the same thing. That's one of the major problems with society is that we're getting butthurt over every fucking word and then they really don't mean anything. Just ignore them. Ignore them. Ignore them. Ignore them. Of course, it's always going to be there. Hate's always going to be there. People that are mean and want to do other people harm are always going to be there. So if we're not saying bad words, people are going to be doing bad things and shooting each other. Like it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. Read a history book. People have always been fucking assholes since the beginning of time. That's why there's been all these wars. All of a sudden, I want peace, world peace, and all this bullshit. And everyone hold hands, kumbaya. It's not going to happen ever, ever. There will never be utopia. Like literally, every civilization before us has been pretty much burned to the ground, sometimes literally and sometimes figuratively. So, I mean, how long the United States is going to last, who knows? Or how long the world as we know it is going to last, or the world period if there's a nuclear war. But we're never going to have, people being nice all the time. You can do your best to be nice. You can do your best to be a good person, but you can't convince someone else to be that. You just have to lead by example. Then we have to just generate this as a society. But there are always going to be dicks, right? Everyone's got an asshole, right? That's what the problem. The assholes, everyone's got one, or everyone's in whatever. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Sure, everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, but you have the option to listen to that opinion. And it comes to my attention oftentimes when someone is struggling with their fitness and they don't get the support of their family, of their friends. Like when you don't get support from someone close to you, that might hurt, right? That might hurt when your spouse or your parents or your children or your sister, your brother, your best friend, or your people that you surround yourself with, and you thought that they were really important in your life and you thought that they really supported you and your vision or whatever you want out of your life. And then you thought they supported you in everything you did. And then all of a sudden you start changing your life, being more fit. And then they're being really negative about it. Like, what are you going to do? Be a fitness model? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to be on stage or you're going to be in a bikini. You think you're going to be all sexy all of a sudden. You're a mother of two. What do you think you're going to do with your life? Then all of a sudden they show their true colors, right? And you're like, fuck, I can't hang around with these people anymore, family or not. And we've talked about that part, cutting off fingers, right? Essentially cutting off people in your circle that don't serve you. And it's not being selfish. It's surrounding yourself with people that give you inspiration. And I literally probably talk to, people on one hand. I don't talk to many people. I don't surround myself with many friends. I have acquaintances and I have people that I are friends, and I keep my circle very, very small because I don't have a lot of time and I barely see them as it is. And if I do spend time with people, then you better be adding something of value to my life. And that's not being selfish. That's just surrounding myself with strong people that I aspire to be more like, that inspire me. Right. So they inspire me or they teach me something or, I learn. So every single person I know, every single person that I spend my time with, I have amazing conversations with. I always leave feeling amped. I always leave with an idea. I always leave with some amazing feedback or some honest feedback. And that's important too. Like I'll get straight shit. I'll get straight shit from my people. If I'm being an asshole or I'm doing something wrong or stupid, they will call me out. And that's rare. Usually you're trying to appease everyone. You want to make everyone happy. I have friends that will tell like it is. They'll be honest, and that's important. But that's because I've built that circle for myself. And I encourage all of you to have that circle too. And it's not something you have to create. It's something you have to, um, I would say, monitor, if that's the right word, or audit. You have to monitor and you have to whittle down because you might know 50 people or you might hang out with over the course of a year 50 people. Well, how many of those people are really valuable in your life? How many of those people are positive? How many of those people are bringing you down? How many of those people are negative? How many of those are pessimists? Whittle them down, just chop them off. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to tell them off. You don't have to call them a cocksucker and then hang up on them or send them a rude text message. Just let it go. Let them go. And if you don't message someone, they won't message you back. If they call, you say, "Hey, I missed your call. I'm busy until later. I'll call you back then, or we'll talk later." Just let it die out. Just don't give it effort. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be a mean person. Just let it go. And it will go. It will go because if you don't want to spend time with them, you won't spend time with them and it'll become clear. And if your road is diverging, they won't want to hang out with you either because you're not on their path. And if they're negative, they're going down a dark path and that's their life. But you can't save everyone and you can't be there for everyone. You have to be around for people that appreciate you. So that's all in favor of giving. That's all in favor of being a team player. That's all in favor of being around people to help them and giving to others. But it's really important to be selfish. It's really important to be selfish and look out for yourself and bring people into your life and keep people in your life that are valuable and treat them well because I don't know, I think everyone imagine that, right? Imagine if you have a circle like I have, right? Where when you spend time with those people, if they are valuing their circle as much as you are in their circle and then they are in your circle. And you're both spending time together because you both add value and positivity to each other. And everyone's very aware of what they want out of their life. And when you spend time, it's something constructive. And it doesn't mean you're, brainstorming or masterminding. You just be hanging out. That's fine. But you're around people that lift you up and that support, and just you have that it factor, right? So, and if you're both in your own each other's circle, then that's super powerful because it just makes it something that is that's adhesive. And those are the people that stick around your life. Those are the people that you can grow with, and those are people that you help grow. And then, right, rising tides raise all ships. So anytime that I spend with anyone, it's those people. It's those people. So anytime you see me spending time with people, I mean, on my own choice, let's make it clear, but but you have the choice for who you want to spend your time with and who you get into relationships with, whether it's friends, whether it's platonic or romantic. That's where it's really important who you surround yourself with. And if you're not in a good situation, if it's a relationship like a boyfriend, girlfriend, a husband, wife, you might have to reevaluate that. There's no shame in restarting. Sometimes you have to if you want to have a quality life and you want to have, you want to fulfill what makes you happy. And that's a big thing that we don't pay attention to. And that's where a lot of the stress comes from, not being happy. And I am, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't always think about myself like, am I happy or am I not happy? I think that's a very tainted word, essentially, because happiness has been used and thrown around as, surface emotion and fluff. And I would have to say I am happy because happiness isn't so much like I'm in a great mood. That's how we use it. Like, are you happy? I'm happy. I'm sad. I think happy is a little bit deeper. And I don't really know like what the main psychological definition, not like a Webster definition, but when you're happy, pleased, content, like I'm very satisfied. And I'm very satisfied. And I have to say that for me, my definition of happy is having direction, knowing where you're going, and just being in a situation where you're just confident and supported. I don't know, in all areas of your life or something. I don't know. It's if you build that team and you build that awareness of yourself, that self-awareness that we talk about, and your why and your vision and knowing where you want to go. And then, yeah, maybe the word is joy. Maybe the word is joy or peace. That's a good question. That's a good question. Does the beard make you happy on Instagram? That's a good point. Yeah, the beard makes me fucking happy as shit. So maybe we did just define happiness. Happiness is having a beard. We figured it out, people. What's true happiness? Having so that maybe that's it. Yeah. See, I would define happiness as having a beard. The beard does make me happy. And I think the beard makes a lot of you happy too, as well. So let's just put that out there. But yeah, I kind of went on a little bit of a rant with the happiness thing, just thinking about it. But when you have your direction and you know where you want to go, and when you are on point, when you're on the same page, you ever talk? All right, how about this? You ever talk to someone and when you both have the same thought, or you understand whatever the situation is, you say you're on the same page. Like, oh, we're on the same page. That means you're parallel, right? You're on the same wavelength. When it comes to understanding yourself and knowing your why and having self-awareness and that cognition of who you are as a person, and I felt this when I meditate, because you are very observant when you meditate. When you really get perspective, you're almost a third party with yourself. And when you have that perspective of a third person within yourself and you see yourself, and then you get on the same page with yourself. I know that sounds really, you know, Twilight Zoney, but it's like self talk, positive affirmations. When you observe your life from within, but you kind of step back and observe your own life, and you're on the same page with yourself, and you understand the long vision, the long play, you understand where you're going, you understand what you want for yourself. I think that is when you're truly happy. And that's when you understand. So when things get in the way, you know where you want to go and you know what the end goal is. So all those little bumps in the road, it doesn't really matter. So imagine you're driving 10 miles to where you want to go. Okay. Let's say you're driving 10 miles to where you want to go. That's your destination. We'll use that as an analogy for life, right? 10 miles down the road is where you want to go. Imagine if you drive down the road and you nitpick and complain and stop at every single crack in the road. You might never get there. You're going to stop all the time. You're going to have issues every fucking inch because there's cracks everywhere. And that's kind of like stress, right? That's kind of like daily stress. That's kind of like sitting in traffic on the way to work. You go to work every day and you're going to have traffic in the morning and in the evening. You mean you're going to be stressed out like a motherfucker twice a day, every day for your whole life? That's going to come out as hypertension. That's going to come out as heart disease. That's going to come out as diabetes. It's going to come out. That's going to manifest itself inside your body. And it's going to affect you and people around you. It's going to affect your wife, your husband, your kids, your brother, sister, people at work. You're going to be a miserable prick. And if you know where you're going and you know you're going 10 miles down the road, but then you observe and you say, oh, look at all these cracks. Huh. Isn't that interesting? Look, it looks like little spider webs. Huh. And you just keep on driving, you just keep on cruising. It's the same crack, right? It's the same crack in the road. Your tire's not going to fall in the crack. You're not going to blow a tire because you drove over a crack in the road. You're not going to, you're not going to be, you're not going to destroy anything. You're not going to blow out an axle because you went over a crack in the road. There are cracks everywhere. The road is made up of like minuscule cracks. But if you observe and you give each one of those cracks attention and due attention, you stop and you complain every time, all those daily stresses, they add up and they're going to slow you down and it's going to blind you from what's really important, which is 10 miles down the road. And if you just observe the cracks and observe the stress and observe what's going on as the norm, either you get stressed out by the norm or you deal with it and you compartmentalize it and then you do your thing. Because come Monday, fam, if you're a Monday through Friday person in terms of work, come Monday, you're going to have traffic. Guess what? You have traffic coming to you Monday. You have traffic coming to you on Tuesday. You have traffic coming to you on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday. Hell, you might even be leaving an event right now. It's Saturday night. You might be leaving an event in traffic. So, what are you going to do? Complain about everything every day? Don't you see how that is going to kind of bleed like ink into other areas of your life? You're always going to have stress. For example, what do people stress about all the time? Money, bills. Guess what? Most of your bills are every month. You're going to have a bill next month. You paid your car payment. Well, good for you. You were stressed out about that. Okay. Well, guess what happens next month? Another car payment. You have a mortgage? Well, so many people have mortgages every month. You're paying. You want a cell phone? Cool. Well, oh man, that cell phone bill. Oh man, it was this much. It's going to happen again next month. Are you just going to keep on like being a fucking broken record? You have to step away from this. You have to step back. You have to step back and get perspective because otherwise it's going to swallow you whole and it's going to come out into your physical life and in all aspects of your life. And that's why mobility and yoga is such an integral part of what we do here. That's what Swolenormous is all about. It's fitness without the bullshit, but it's also life without the bullshit. The reality is you have to train your mind and you have to train your body. You have to train both. You have to train both because they're connected. They're connected. If you care about your fucking body, you'll train your mind. Training your body, training your mind. Body, physical yoga, weight training, meditation is mental training. Yoga is also mental training, the breath, all these things that you hear me say, all the things that you've heard, it's all true. It's all true. The body and the mind are one and they relate to one another. And if one is unhealthy, it's going to bleed into the other. And above all, you need to understand that stress in your life is going to be there, stress in your body is going to be there, and you need to address the physical stress in your life as much as you address the mental stress. And that's when you really start seeing the sweet spot. So let's take some questions. Thank you for joining me on a Saturday night. I mean, wherever you're watching from, I'm not sure if you're watching West Coast, you're on East Coast, about 8:30 here. Let me see a couple questions on Instagram. Let's see. I used to be very shy, but after I started training and getting gains, I became much more confident, became very honest, much outgoing and closer to my friends. Good. Good. Fitness is amazing. Fitness is absolutely amazing. You can learn a lot about yourself in the gym. You can learn a lot about yourself in the gym. Let's see here. You're the tits brother. Greatly appreciate your words every day. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Don't hold anything inside that bothers you. Agreed. Let's see. Does a beard make you happy? I love that. Do some other comments. Da, da, da. Very cool. Thank you for the kind words. Connecticut. All right, East Coast. Oh, nice. Connecticut. I grew up there. Tennessee, sweet. Definitely going to create a drinking problem. It sure can. It sure can. It sure can. Happiness is having purpose in life. Purpose is important. That's part of it. If you know where you're going, that's your purpose, your vision. You can just name it different things. That's why I say when I say motivation is bullshit, I know a lot of people use motivation or they say the word motivation. I know what they mean, but emotions change, right? Some days you're happy or in a good mood, and some days you're in a low mood. You're not depressed because you're in a low mood because it's raining outside. Oh, I'm depressed. No, you're in a low mood, but you're in control of that. You're in control. You're in control of your mood. When you realize you're in control of your mood, you can manipulate your mood. You can improve your mood. And meditation is essentially brain training. It's technically I would call it emotional training. You learn how to manage your emotions, you learn how to manage your feelings, and you learn how to manage what's around you. So if you spend as much time working your brain in that sense as you do with your physical body, and that's what I'm catching up on. I didn't do meditation my whole life. I'm just getting into it heavily now, and it's really helping me balance out and see things in the bigger picture. I'm stressing less about little things on a day to day. And as you know, I'm doing tons of content every day. I'm doing tons of editing, tons of podcasting and calls and messages. And I'm doing a lot of stuff every day. And I'm always trying to do more and make sure I'm managing everything properly. And it's hard to get everything done. And I've come to realize I can't get everything done. And I can't try or think that I will get everything done. And I know what we're doing here as a community. I know what I'm trying to do. I know my intentions are pure. I know what I'm trying to bring to Swolenormous X, to my private community. I know what I'm trying to bring to the public community here with the Daily Swole and all this content here. So I know what my intention is, and I know what I'm trying to do. And I know the right people like this. Everyone watching now and everyone, I know it's Saturday night. Not everyone can watch right now and watch live, but you all are my circle essentially. It's like an extension. So this is a circle, and this is a circle of what we're trying to do together. So we're all bringing. There's no negativity here. No one trolls this show. Maybe on Twitch once in a while, but no one really is. No one's negative. You don't get negativity here on this page because it's attracting to positive minds and to people that are optimistic and that are encouraging of one another and that have goals and aspirations or want to learn how to do better with their goals and aspirations. So that's powerful. That's really powerful. And that's what I encourage for all of you in your personal life as well as here. So that's why this community is so powerful. But that's what I'm trying to do. So I have come to grips realizing that I can't get everything done every day, nor should I get everything done every day. Because guess what? If I finished everything in the world today, then tomorrow's gonna be pretty damn boring. Right. If I do everything today, then tomorrow's gonna be pretty boring. So I'll leave you all with that. And that's just some good perspective, I think. And I want you all to take a little bit more of a look at yourself and how you're managing your mental stress. And are you taking as much effort into managing your mental stress and your recovery as you are your physical training? Because that helps answer a lot of questions, and that helps you get perspective on your entire journey. So you get less frustrated when you have weight loss issues. Come on, fam. I mean, you think that I built muscle linearly my entire career? No, you have times when you hit plateaus or when you get burned out, you get exhausted, you don't feel like training so hard. But guess what? Training hard builds muscle and is what's going to make you see progress. But you're injured. You keep on training hard, eventually you get injured. So it's patience, right? But it teaches you patience. And if you're able to manage those stresses of when you don't get results the way you wanted, or when something bothers you, or when you get injured, if you have the mental game down, you'll see that as a crack in the road. And when you have a speed bump where you're trying to lose weight and all of a sudden you plateau for 2 weeks and you step on the scale again, you're like, oh my God, I haven't lost weight again. You look at that and say, all right, well, let's bring it on. Let's keep on going because life keeps on going. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Get upset, cry about it, and then stop? You're not so you There's no reason why you should continuously lose weight endlessly. It's not a gift, it's not a guarantee. Just because you wanna lose weight doesn't mean your body will just get rid of it. You have to try things, you have to keep on going, and life goes. There's a reason why there's a day after a day after a day, is that it continues. So even if you step on the scale, gaining weight, losing weight, whatever it is, and you're happy with it. Let's say you step on a scale and, oh, you're finally 200 pounds. And you've always wanted to be 200 pounds and you were overweight for a long time and you're finally 200 pounds. What then? There's still tomorrow. What then? There's still the next day. and then you still have to keep on going and then you maintain it and then you try to build more muscle and then you start working. I mean, there's always going to be the next day, or maybe you gain weight because you back off it. Like there's always another day. There's always another challenge. What happens when you step on the scale next week and you gained a pound? Maybe it was just water, but you're freaking out because you go, oh my God, I'm going backwards. I'm going to get fat again. Oh my goodness. Fam, cracks in the road. Cracks in the road. They're cracks in the road. That's it. That's it. Observe the cracks. It's the bullshit life throws at you to throw you off. Not that life is singling you out. Life doesn't care about your individual problems, but that's the whole thing. It's just things that happen. Everyone deals with them. The people that are successful are the ones that deal with them better and that don't let those things throw them off. They don't let that get in the way and they fucking move on. They keep on crushing it. So you need to look at those things and not give them a second thought. They're cracks in the road. Cracks in the road. Sunday morning in Australia. Stoked I caught this live. Hell yeah. I'm really glad you did too. Thank you for joining. I don't have scales in the first place. I agree. I don't have a scale. I get people asking me how much I weigh. I have no idea. I haven't weighed myself in probably a year or 6 months at least. I don't remember. I have no idea. Nor do I care. Listening to you while doing my shopping helps keep me motivated to buy the right things as I'm doing the elimination diet week 3, and I'm feeling great. Thanks for the info and the time you give. You're very welcome, Joanne. I'm glad. How are you doing with have you lost any weight? Have you seen like, water weight drop or body fat drop? Joanne, the shopper. Buy me some bacon. Oh, my neck. So any questions right now? Any questions? We'll wrap it up. It's a Saturday night, but I got some stuff to do, and I know you do too. But stress does kill, fam. Stress does kill. And stress will put you under. I mean, under the ground, either, literally, if not figuratively, but it does translate over. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching tonight on a Saturday, episode 736 of the Daily Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gaincast, and Mancast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. So, fam, oh, just came in. Joanne lost 4 kilograms. That's about, for anyone that's not kilogram savvy, that's about 9 or 10 pounds, right? Cravings have stopped and just overall feeling better. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. That elimination diet is killer. So stay on it, fam. Love you all. Thanks for joining me live on Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And I will see you all on the podcast as well, SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. And remember, new members, come on in, go check out swolenormousx.com. And like I said, I told everyone yesterday, I will by the end of this weekend. I am going to load up some more workouts. I got a mobility workout I'm waiting to edit, and yoga class and stuff like that. So a lot of new stuff coming. So swolenormousx.com if you're interested in joining the private fam. And I will see everyone tomorrow for 737 of the Daily Mother Swole. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, a Papa Swolio. Oh, 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 oh. Out. Later, fam. Laters. Bye, Twitch. Peace out. Have a good evening, everyone. Be safe. Be swole. May the swole be with you, fam. May the swole be with you. Peace out. Laters. Lates McGates. Peace, McGee's.